Bias Project, Nico Callahan. My bias. Nico Callahan has a personal bias against a certain religion being Christianity, as well as gender roles and occupations due to previous events and exposure to the subjects. So, religious bias. My religious bias is against Christianity, being negative, and I have a neutral bias towards Buddhism, Judaism, and Islam. Gender occupation bias. My bias is towards male dominations in the fields of science and women domination in the fields of liberal arts, and vice versa, being a bias towards negatively women in science and men negatively in liberal arts. The image above shows my results from the Harvard bias tests, which shows Christianity is negative in my bias, and I have a more neutral bias towards the other three religions. Some causes. Some causes to this could possibly be my long exposure to a strict version of Christianity, which includes early morning mass. Personally, I'm not a morning person, or the evening services. Also, the feeling of being pressured to conform to Christian beliefs regarding marriage, drinking, sexuality, and creation, as well as an exposure through learning in my AP World class of Islam, Buddhism, and Judaism. Finally, the positive exposure from my friends in Judaism and Islam could be a cause for my neutrality towards those religions. In the following chart, the gender occupation chart, you can see on the left the results from the general population on female bias and the percentage of my personal bias for female domination of liberal arts and male dominations of science. Some causes of this. Some possible causes to my gender occupation bias could be my education here in Costa Rica, where I've had more female teachers than males. As well, growing up, my mom and most of her friends did not work, so I was exposed to a group of women who did not hold an occupation. From the few science teachers I have had, they have all been male, as well as I've learned about famous male scientists such as Newton, Einstein, and Galileo, while very rarely, that I can't remember learning about famous female scientists. This is my bias? Yes, this is my bias, because I associate Christianity and going to church as a task, rather than something I would willingly want to do. I associate science with men such as Albert Einstein, Bill Nye the Science Guy, and Isaac Newton, rather than famous female scientists. Also, my Harvard bias tests showed these results, making me lean even further towards this being my primary bias. Religious bias. Above you can see a quote by Swami Vivekananda. My personal bias is against Christianity. This bias can affect me when going to church because of my attitude towards going to church. Culture today in both Costa Rica and the United States negatively views atheism or a non-affiliation with a religion. In Latin America, most people are Catholic. In Costa Rica, 90.1% of the population is Catholic. Relating to gender roles, in the Catholic and Christian churches, women are limited to positions, as well as there has never been a female pope. It is also ironic, irony being the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite. This is ironic because I am Christian. Bias is for a male domination in science and a female domination in liberal arts. This bias most likely comes from popular culture. Until recently, we have called many occupations by the gender that carries them out, such as policemen, firemen, mailmen, and businessmen. Nowadays, we have changed many of them to police officers. Okay, whatever, we'll sketch over that part. This bias could affect me when being objective in the workforce based on gender. Are others affected by my bias? Regarding religion, I do believe others are affected by my bias. In this case, it would be family, because most of my family is either Christian or Catholic. My parents are Catholic and Lutherans and have been since they were kids. This could affect their happiness with me and my choices regarding religion. Gender occupation. I believe this specific bias does not affect other people at the moment because it is more of a personal choice, a subconscious personal choice, one that could be easily fixed. But if not, it eventually could lead to a gender role bias, which then would affect my female companions and my opinion of them. Possible solutions. Possible solutions regarding gender occupation bias could be talking to women and men in the field of sciences and liberal arts to find accurate solutions, as well as to consider and research famous women involved in sciences and famous men involved in liberal arts. A solution for my religious bias could be to take a different view on my religion, talk to a pastor or member of the church, and to attend the Christian youth group, Young Life, I previously belonged to, once again boosting my positive feeling towards my religion. As a child, I was exposed to male domination in roles at the church, at home, and in sciences. I tend to have a biased focus around them. In religion, specifically Christianity and Catholicism, only men can hold such high positions such as popes and high bishops and arches. This could be compared to Game of Thrones, where men use their powers as kings and religious authorities to implement power over others, while women are limited to their sexual ability to exercise power over their male counterparts, emphasizing gender roles due to the occupations being religious authorities or kings. Once again, showing that bias can come from pop culture, from TV shows such as these. Conclusion. The importance of my religious bias against Christianity is that it's not only ironic, but it's important because people could judge me because I do not conform to religion, or because I do not conform to my current family religion. The importance of my gender role occupation bias is that this view could eventually develop into something else. And because of gender role bias today, women still lag behind men in many different socio-economic issues. Thank you.